Hi, I'm Don. Today I'm going to show you how I do sketching or modulation or pre-shading or post-shading with the airbrush, and also I'll tell you why. Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my channel. I'm an affiliate painter for Red Grass Games and also the head mecha and sci-fi painter for Vallejo Colors. I write painting articles for various magazines and do use my Suratos 10 discount code if you're into Gunpla. So this project is a commission work and the client wanted the ATST we saw at the Mandalorian series. So I'm adding a bit of net underneath the legs of this standard ATST from Bandai so that it would look somehow like the photo I saw of the ATST in the Mandalorian series. We're also putting scaffolding around the legs because I saw a photo of it, and we just have to paint it later. Also, I wanted some texture around the leg areas, so we're using Vallejo plastic putty. We're just stippling it with an old brush so that we create some sort of texture, a very fine texture depending on how much you stipple. More pressure means smaller stippling or thinner stippling. So basically, more texture adds to like a more gritty feel for the model later. We also added some wire so that it looks like the ATST at the Mandalorian series. Now we start the sketching. We're using dark sea gray from the Model Airline. It's a very dark greenish bluish gray color, so it's really nice for the initial like painting or build up of color from the black primer. Most of the paints that we're using here are Mecha paints and the Model Air. These are air paints from Vallejo, meaning they're ready for the airbrush. You could add a bit of flow improver to prevent tip drying or add a bit of my thinning sauce, but with this one, with the Grapho T1 harder&steenbeck airbrush, I'm not using any thinner, but I kinda jacked up the pressure to around 25 psi. So why am I painting with a lot of colors whenever I do painting? With this one, we're building up from a very dark gray, the dark sea gray from Model Air. And then the next paint is this one, the Mecha Phantom Gray, which is my fav color from the Mecha range. It's the like almost exact equivalent of the colors of the inner frames of Gunpla kits. Now we paint with Mecha Gray Green. It's a nice like medium tone gray color, but it's a bit bluish or greenish, and it's a nice intermediate like middle range color. So why again are we using a lot of colors? So basically, if you use a lot of colors, you need like less skill in blending all the painting that you're doing, because the colors will do that for you. So instead of like having a black primer and then jumping to medium gray, it's kind of like not difficult but tricky and complex in a way, and you need to have a really good skill with the airbrush to be able to blend the medium tone gray to the black primer. So by using a lot of different colors, now we're using light gray coming from the gray green. So we're the colors, the paints itself, the paint themselves will be helping you with the blending. So as you paint less and less areas of lighter colors, meaning you paint less areas with the lighter colors, and keep making sure that the darker colors remain visible or slightly visible, you create a very nice transitions with all these paints. Normally, the gray green would be the perfect gray color for the ATST or any Star Wars kit for that matter. But we're going to push this lighter. We're going to paint a lighter color later, because once you do weathering, all of this will tone down or will darken because of the filters, the washes, and the inks, which stains a lot. So, and I love my inks. So basically, we're making it lighter than the final outcome so that we have room for like it won't be too dark once we finish all the weathering. So basically, you don't really need like a very high skill level in terms of airbrushing if you use a lot of colors. So also, you don't need to buy all these colors. You could like premix different tonal ranges or tonal values of grays or colors so that you have very smooth transitions in between the black primer towards a lighter, like this one, the white gray paint. Basically, the white gray paint is not necessary, but it's our safety net because again, everything will be darker once we do the weathering. Lastly, I highly recommend some sort of shading if you plan to weather your pieces. Now it's tip time. It's always safe to use the flow improver so that you prevent tip drying, just don't add too much. You could also use model washes and any wash that you have and game inks for or with the airbrush. Using them is really easy. You just need to lower down the PSI to around 15-ish. 20-ish PSI would be tricky a bit because it might produce some spider webs. You could also add a bit of flow improver so that you prevent tip drying. The light gray wash here that we're using is basically like glazing with a brush. So this time we're like glazing with the airbrush using the light gray wash. Now we're using Game Ink Black. Be careful with using inks with the airbrush because they stain a lot. They're really opaque and transparent at the same time. So basically I'm using it for some really deep crevices and details and now painting them on some exhaust areas and stuff. Things that you could build up with the pigment or some really dark wash, but I'm kinda hasty and painting it already even before the weathering process. So that's it. I hope you like the video. It's a very simple, like really short video. I highly recommend you do modulation, post shading, pre-shading. Basically, I call it sketching with the airbrush before you do weathering. The weathering will complement your like sketching very much instead of just having a plain gray model and then trying to create volume with the washes and with the weathering. I highly recommend you do this first. That's it, we're done. I hope you liked the video. Do like, comment, subscribe, and consider joining the channel so that you'll be part of our Discord community. Saludos! I am Don. Welcome to my channel.